Hey guys, hopefully everything is working and we have a picture when I go to the overhead. I am still setting up. I'm running behind today. We still have a couple of minutes though. I am having a camera issue. You guys give me just a moment, please. Thank you, Jamie. I have a new camera, guys, and it was working, and now all of a sudden I don't have an overhead photo. So if you guys could give me just a moment. I think I got it, but I need it to rotate. Let me fix my orientation here really quick. Yes, please make sure you hit that thumbs up, like. Let's see. I may have to turn you guys the other way for now. I really hate to do that because it's going to limit my area. I will get it fixed, guys. Whenever we do something new, things happen. There is a way. There is a way. There is a way. Let me... There we are. Okay, as a last resort, I'm going to apologize in advance to you guys that this may not be ideal. I'm going to switch over to show you guys what the live is going to look like tonight. I apologize in advance. I don't know what happened to the orientation, and I'm not sure how I can fix it at this point in the game. But hopefully you guys can see at least. That's better than nothing. I think I can zoom in a little bit. I'm just going to be very limited on what I can do here. I know it's not ideal. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm kind of upside down. I've got my phone in my face. But you guys can hear, you can see my hands and stuff, I hope. I will get the orientation fixed so you have a better picture next week. Oh, you love the blue card with the birdie. I'm glad you guys like those. They're probably 20 years old, guys, these cards that we're going to do tonight. But they're making a comeback, I think. And if we should be streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So if anybody needs to ask a question, please ask your question in caps so that everybody can see it. We're going to play the intro and we're going to get started. Oops. You see what I did? I forgot to get the right calendar up here. We did finish out March. Did you guys see the March in review post that I made? And if you did, let me know what you thought about it. You can leave a comment down below. You can say it here in chat. If you liked it, you didn't like it, or you, because I know a lot of times you guys might miss what you see and or what we've done for the month. So I decided that I would go in and I would give you a month in review so that you could take a look at those in your email or on Patreon or on Ko-fi, and even at the calendar at the end of the month, and see if there's anything you missed. Because sometimes, and I did notice that I might have missed, I try to put every video that I do, and sometimes I miss putting that in the calendar in each group, because I do have to go to each group and I have to post them individually, and sometimes I forget. But our April calendar is up. It's available for download for all of my supporters on the 2021 Files tab. Thank you to all of you who support. You guys are awesome. Couldn't do any of this without you. And of course, thank you to the moderators in YouTube and in the groups. Guys, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for everything you do. So that is the calendar for April. Again, it's tentative. Guys, on Fridays, I usually do, I have been doing shortcuts a lot. I am at a point where I am so super busy. I'm going to pop over here to the overhead that sometimes I get behind, and I have not been able to study my SCAL or do my lessons. So on Fridays where I don't have an SCAL lesson, I think I'm going to do a free-for-all file, which would be free for everybody, include in the groups and supporters. So you guys are going to get something out of it if we don't do shortcuts a lot. But if I can get my lessons done, we'll do those. This, I don't know why I even have that. That's last week's. And hopefully you guys don't mind the bottom of my computer being in there in that shot. Again, I'll get that fixed. Louise did a file and she shared it with us, and a lot of people were asking for a tutorial, so she asked me to do a tutorial on it, and a couple of my other admins, so I did. And we want to say thank you to Louise for sharing her file with us. You can find that on the freebies tab at craftingwithapril.co, not com.co, and it is there for you. And you take the lid off, and then you open up your boxes, and then you have the center box in there as well. And we've done little magnet closures on ours. You can use Velcro, whatever it is that you have. Super cute, super fun box. Okay. Oh, I don't have my lid on there all the way. But that came out on Friday, Saturday, the 1st, 2nd, somewhere around there. That came out. And then I showed you guys a sneak peek of these. I think it was on Saturday. And these are what I call the chain cards. They're like a tuck and fold. I have one in the circles, one in the hearts, and one in the arrow chain. And we're going to go over those and do those. But you can see, super cute, super fun. And I put a flower on that one. And then the heart one here, you can see that when you fold it, it creates that heart. And I just did a butterfly and pop dotted up my hello. And stamp, you may not be able to see that. I did a pink stamp in there. And then I did my Dream Big on the circle ones using some foil papers. And I did not foil that on the Cricut. However, you could. And I'll get to that in just a moment. And then stamped on the inside. Lots of fun cards. So that, and then I have this that is coming out for supporters on Wednesday. This is a card. This was inspired by Ann Melvin, which I tell that in the video. She did a very good job. It's a 3D window, okay? But it's also a card. When you lift it up, it's an easel card. And then you can stamp and write a message here. And the sentiment is pop dotted up to hold it so that it will stand. I'll give y'all a side view. It will stand. Okay. And then I did a message on the back. So you could do, you can skip that. Everything is optional there. But if you want to do a message on the back or a to and from, this will not fit in the envelope. This is one that you would hand deliver or put with a gift. However, for Patreon annual supporters only, there will be a version of this on Thursday for your peso file, and it will be on a box. This will be the lid of your box. So something for you guys to look forward to. Do I still have everybody? Are we live? Let's see some hearts and all that kind of stuff if you're on Facebook. And you guys got really, really, really quiet. So, before we jump in on these cards, I wanted to tell you that the circle and the heart, they are in SVG form because I don't have a curved line in Design Space. The arrow is a Design Space file. Okay? So, you can open this one in Design Space and go for it. This one you're going to have to do a little work on, and we're going to go over to Design Space, and I'm going to show you guys what you need to do for the circle and the hearts. And then we're going to also talk about some print and cut and things like that for some new people. Now, what I did on these guys, I did not foil them. I had a paper stack, and these were all in one sheet, and I cut them apart. And so I cut those apart, and then I cut them down to fit on my cards in different patterns and shapes, because this one started out the same size as this, and then I just cut them down by hand and used my chompers to do rounded corners and things like that. But I did put some squares and things in the files for you guys. You can foil this on your Cricut and do something similar, but this was already foiled for me, and I'm just using up some things that I have because I love these and I just didn't want to let them sit there or throw them away, and they worked perfectly. So let's pop over to Design Space, and I know it isn't there yet. It's coming. Hi, Deb. There we go. So I'm just going to, I know that shows the circle one on this arrow chain when you open it up, but I did put all the photos on there. I ran out of time tonight, so I didn't get to change the order of my photos in there, but you can see some close-ups of those cards, okay, and how they look. It's kind of hard to see on camera sometime. Yay, thanks for liking the stream. But you can see all the photos are in here. And I'm just going to go into customize. We're going to start with a new one, or one of the ones I did. And I've got everything laid out here for you. This flower is the flower that's on there. It is the size, guys. When you pull this off your mat, be very, very, very gentle, because it's very little area here in the center, and you can pull your leaves off, but it will be okay. I cut this on intricate, and it cut perfectly fine. Even the center of the flower cut perfectly fine. And if you guys want to see that again here in a little bit when we go back to the overhead, I'll show it to you. But I did use it. I did use it at this size, and everything was fine. And I'm going to show you guys how to fold it. Other than that, it's just stacking. Let me go back to my projects. I'm going to come over, and I'm going to go to, oops, wrong one. That's the same one. Where are we? There's Louise's card that she shared with us. Here we are. And we're going to customize. Going to replace my other image. I don't want to make any changes. Now this is going to look kind of weird because Design Space is doing something weird. I don't know why it's doing this, but all I did was upload my file, my SVG file of my circles. And I'm going to have to shrink this window, guys, so that I can see the edge of it from my other monitor. I apologize. You see that it keeps coming back. These two keep coming back, even though I detach and I contour. Maybe if I do it today, it won't. We're going to see. I'm going to contour it real quick. This is how you can get rid of inside and outside cut lines or things you don't want on your designs, guys. And now I'm going to attach that. I'm going to save it. And just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to go open this again, just so we can see if it comes back. Hopefully it's fixed. Nope. I don't know why it keeps coming back. When you contour something out, it seems like it should be gone for good until you bring it back. But Design Space keeps bringing this back in the 6.6134 version for me, whether I want it to or not. So if you encounter that problem, you're just going to have to go in and reset it and then reattach, detach and reattach. So if Jamie or anybody wants to make note on support, if you're having those issues too, they may need to know about those. So here is the card that I set up. Super easy, super simple. For you guys who don't know how, we're going to set up a brand new design. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into new. I'm just going to replace that. I just wanted to point that out in case it happens to you guys. So I have saved. You're going to go to craftingwithapril.co, and on your supporters tab, you're going to go and you're going to get your SVG and you're going to download it. And we're going to upload the image. And I have that on my desktop. I'm just going to browse and slide it over. Let's see. Right here. And I'm going to bring, it's called Chain Card Cut Lines, because that's all there are some lines. And I left one red, one black so that you could see the difference. And you're going to upload. You're going to do the same thing with both of them in Design Space. And they're going to come in kind of large. Don't worry about that because you're going to be sizing anyway. And the first thing you're going to do is ungroup. Okay? And you're going to get your card whatever size you want. I have the arrow card set up for Joy size so it can work for all machines. Joy, Explore, and Maker. So you guys can set it up. If you want to do a 5x7, you can do a 5x7. And the way you set up a card, for anybody's new who doesn't know how, you're going to start with a square, and you're going to come up and you're going to unlock it. And just for kicks and giggles, we're going to go with a 5x7 card. Okay, so I know if it's a 5x7 card, I need my height to be 7 inches. Okay, if I want it to be 5 inches wide, I have to double that and make it 10. Okay, and if you want to fold it the other way, you can fold it the other way. All you have to do is rotate it 90 degrees, or either make your height 10 inches and your width 7 inches. But you have to double that size. So if you're doing an A2 Joy size card, you're going to make yours 5.5 tall or height, and then your width is going to be 8.5, so that when you fold it in half, it's 4.25 by 5.5. And then I just like to make mine white so that I can see my score line. You're going to go back to shapes. You're going to get a score line, and you're going to change that size. It's going to come in at 3.111. It's right here. And you're going to change that to 7 inches, or whatever the height of your card is. So if your card is 5.5 inches tall, you're going to make it 5.5. Super simple. You're going to select them both. You're going to align, center, and then you're going to come down to the bottom and attach. And now you have a card base. So if you want a pop-up panel, which we're going to do because we need that to do this chain card, you're going to go in and you're going to get a shape. You're going to get a square, or you can press the number 1 on your keypad and get another square. And I like to make mine a little bit smaller than the card base itself. So this is a 5x7 when it's folded. I want to make this 4.75 by 6.75. Okay, so I made it a 1/4 inch smaller so that I could see my edges. And for my circular card, I made this one gold. So I'm just going to go in here and we're going to make that gold. That's awfully bright, isn't it? Let's see if we can tone that down just a little bit. Go into advanced. There we go. So there's our gold. That is our gold back panel. Now, that being said, I'm just going to get rid of this. I'm just going to duplicate it because we need 2 panels. I like my back panel for something like this to be just slightly smaller than my main panel. That way I don't have to worry about any overhanging edges, or if I use a pattern cardstock behind it, then the white edges won't show if I've got a solid cardstock on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and I'm going to make this 0.65 by 665. So I've gone just slightly smaller than my top panel. Now I'm going to change the color of my top panel so that we can tell them apart. And you can see one is 475, 675. That is actually going to be the top panel. And then this one is 1/10 of an inch smaller, just so I don't have any overhanging when I go to glue it together. So that's going to create those panels. To do your hearts, we're going to start, and I'm going to get rid of this. We don't really need these. I just wanted to show all of our newbies how to lay one out. And I'm going to change this to a light purple so that you can see the cut lines, which are here. We're going to arrange and move those to the front. Those are awfully big. They're hanging off, and those are not going to fit the card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to size that to fit on my card. Okay, this bottom one is your tuck cut, so you have to have that. I'm going to duplicate it, and then we're going to rotate that 270 degrees, or whatever angle. If you want yours to go across the back here, across the spine, you can do that. If you want to come across the top, you can do that. You're just going to change it to the orientation that you want. Now you need to make sure that you've got a little bit of space in between these two tuck cuts. If you just want to go straight down, you're done. You just need to attach it to your card. But if you want to go in 2 directions, this is what you need to do. And I'm just making sure, and the way that I like to do it is just grab a square, bring that square in, and then I can kind of line up on those squares, giving me just enough space so that I have an area here where it's going to stay connected, because I don't want those to touch. I don't want a connection there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select them both, and I'm going to attach. Now I need to look at that. Ooh, it doesn't fit. No problem. We know that we want our height to be right, so all I'm going to do is just take it down a little bit, and then that's going to tell me how many of these I need to take off. Okay, so now I'm going to go to, I'm just going to move my card out of the way, and I'm going to detach, and I know I need to take 3 off. Okay, and the reason I size these together, guys, is because you want them to be symmetrical. If you size them separately, they're not going to be proportioned right. Okay, so you need to do that and check and see how many you take off. So I'm going to select the bottom one, and I'm going to contour, and I'm going to take off 3 of these. And you noticed on my other card I only took off 2, and that's because I had sized my height differently before I duplicated, and that's all. That's the only difference. So if you want more over here, you make this one smaller, then duplicate it, and that'll give you the area you're looking for. I forgot to attach, didn't I? You want to move them together, attach, group or attach, and then I came in here, selected both, align, center, and then you're going to attach it to your card, and now you're ready to cut. Identically, the same thing with the heart shape. This one is your heart shape, and you're just going to do the exact same things. Okay? Is everybody following along? Does anybody have any questions on that and how to set that card up? If you have questions later, don't worry. We can come back. I can show you. But that is basically all there is to doing that card. You got your base, everything. You're ready to cut. All you got to do now is add your pretties into the file. If you want a butterfly or a flower or whatever it is that you want. And then you can do your main panels for your pop-up panels. All I did, because this is going to depend on the size of your chain cuts. You can come in here and eyeball and make your panels for your card. So if I wanted to do a dark one there, then duplicate it and make this one a light one as well, maybe even lighter. And then I'm just going to take off and make that, I don't know, 75. Make it a little bit smaller so that it pops out, or you can eyeball it. Just like so. And then you've got your total card front except your pretties. Okay? All right. While we're still in Design Space, before I go and show you how to fold those cards, a couple of things. People were talking about print and cut and having issues with their print and cut. I'm just going to get rid of this so that nobody gets confused. We had lots of questions on that this week. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get some print and cut images. And I'm just going to grab a couple. And so you can see now we have offsets. We got all these offset images. Which those are great because I wanted to show you a little bit about that. It goes hand in hand with print and cut. So you have your print and cut in here and you've got everything set up. We don't need 3 of these. I'm going to get rid of a couple. You've got everything set up for print and cut. And I want you to pay special attention to this one here. And I'm also going to add some text. Not text, text. There we go. And then I'm going to duplicate that because we're going to come back. All right, so you've got everything laid out, and you're going to go and you're going to do your print and cut. So you hit make it. Hopefully, yay, it's showing up today. Last night I couldn't get my print and cut to work on my computer. And we've got it all done. Everything is laid out perfectly, and we hit continue. Oops, I forgot to do something. Let me hit cancel. Yes, I want to cancel. I forgot to flatten. Flatten does nothing but make your image a print and cut, guys. That's all it does. Okay? But there are things that go along with that. So you see this looks pretty good here, and then I'm just going to hit continue. And we're going to come over and we're going to go, hopefully it will show it, and it's not going to show it here. But you go and this looks fine, and you print it, and it comes out all blurry. And everybody's saying, why is it so blurry? Your text is all blurred, and it's all blurred together. Bleed, if you turn that bleed off, it's going to clear up, and it's going to be clear. Okay, around the edges of everything is going to be nice and clear. But when it cuts, you're going to have a white edge all the way around parts of your image, unless your print and cut is dead on. Okay, if it's dead on, when I cut from my mobile, mine is dead on. When I cut from my computer, it's not. And that is exactly what that bleed does, is it gives you edge to edge color without having a white edge on two edges of this and color edge on two edges. Excuse me. And I apologize, I got a tickle in my throat. So that is what your bleed does. It keeps you from having those white edges on parts of your image and not on others. Okay, so you want to make sure you leave that bleed on unless you're printing on clear material. If you're printing on clear material, you don't want that bleed on, because when it cuts it, if it leaves part of it on one edge and not on another, you've got a blurry edge on your clear. Okay, so clear, you turn bleed off. If it's not clear, you leave bleed on. And always test cut or test print on a piece of copy paper with your regular printer before you print your materials. Because when you print this, it looks fine if I were to print it like this, but I'm telling you right now, this text is going to be all blurred and run into each other. And the reason is the way I flattened it. And I did not flatten it to an image. You saw me flatten it. I did not do that. Okay? I'm going to cancel this. Used to, it would show it to you right here, but it doesn't show it to us anymore for whatever reason. So we could tell immediately before we printed whether it had if it was properly flattened. But if you look here, let's change our canvas color so that we can see. Do you see the green here in this area on this image that I have in her arms and around the neck? You see all that green? That's going to cut out. So when you look at the text that I flattened, it's going to cut out. And it's going to cut out the center of the E and each one of these letters. So basically, all I'm doing, I could cut that from cardstock if I'm going to set that way, because it's going to cut all the individual letters. But here, I haven't flattened this one. This is for my sticker one. We'll get to that in a minute. So I just want to get rid of those. That's just going to show you. So here, let's go and let's create an offset. And I'm just going to make my offset. Do I want a square? Maybe. Let's do a square on this one. But I don't want it that large. And you can use your arrow keys to take this down, guys, to help you. I do want it blacked out, though. Not really. I want it to be really thin, but I want it connected. They're all connected. There we go. So I'm going to apply that. And now you can see that I have all of this and they're connected. I can align that center. And I'm going to go in and make that base white. And the reason I'm going to make it white is because white does not print. Okay, and now I'm going to select the two and flatten. Now when that cuts, it's going to print that word text on this, and then it's just going to cut around the white area. So if you want it to be really in tight, or if you want it on a card, you're going to have to go in and select an image. It has to be flattened to something. You can't just go in and flatten it. Okay? And whatever color you flatten it to, that's what's going to print. And that's why most of us do it to the white, because white doesn't print. Now, if I wanted that on, say, a specific color, let's say I wanted that on the blue. I can align that and center it up, and I've got everything just like I want it, and flatten it. Now it's going to print a blue oval. It's going to print the text in black, and it's only going to cut the oval. When I print this and test print it, it's not going to be blurred on the inside. The outside's going to be blurred only because the bleed lines are an indication of a cut line. Is everybody with me on that? Is it making sense? If anybody has print and cut questions, please ask, because this is how you make stickers, guys. This is how you make your stickers. And we get a ton of questions. How do I make stickers? How do I make stickers? How do I make? This is how you make stickers. If I want this to have a white edge all the way around it like these flowers do, because this, I can make this a print and cut for a card, or I can make that a sticker. I can make that whatever I want. But if a lot of people are wanting the edge on the stickers, so you're just going to create your offset, and you're going to make that offset whatever color you want it to be. You're going to place your sticker right over it, and you're going to flatten it. So now it's going to flatten. You notice I only have one layer here. I only have one layer here. I only have one layer here. You have to have it flattened, and it has to be one single flattened layer. What makes it a sticker? What makes it a sticker instead of a cardstock piece is what you cut it from. Okay, so you can cut it from printable vinyl. You can cut it from sticker material. You can cut it from cardstock. So that's all there. That's the only difference when you're creating these. To make a sticker, you only need to know how to use print and cut. And once you've learned print and cut, all you need to do is choose your correct material to make your stickers. You can make stickers from Avery labels. You can make them from full sheet labels. You can make them from shiny labels. Anything that is compatible with your printer. So if you have an inkjet printer, you need inkjet materials. If you're doing laser, you need laser materials. That's how you do these. Does anybody have any questions on how to make a sticker or anything about print and cut? Please ask. Guys, don't forget, you can ask any questions you want about Design Space. It does not have to be on this topic. We're going to make sure that you get answers and you know how to do whatever it is you need to do for your projects. Every Monday or any live that we do, you can always ask any Design Space question, no matter what the subject is, and we're going to help you. So don't be scared to ask. That's what we're here for. The next thing, did that. I'm looking at my, the matte screen. Another popular question this week, I think I saw it asked by 3 different people. When you are doing this and you want it cut out of a specific spot on your vinyl or a patterned cardstock or whatever, if I move this down to the 4-inch or put it in position at the 4-inch, I'm just going to get rid of these. just so we don't get confused. If I want this to cut, and I've looked at my paper, and I want it to cut out of the 4x4 area on my paper, or the 4-inch mark on my paper by, let's say, the 4x5 inch. There's a specific area of my pattern cardstock that I want to cut this from. So I move it down here to the 4-inch by the 5-inch position. And then I hit Make It. And when I hit Make It, oops. Yeah, I need an image, not a print and cut. Let's go get an image. Let's get, is he a print and cut? Hopefully not. Just going to insert it. Yeah, here we go. So let's say that I've got him flattened and I want to cut him out of a specific spot on my paper. And let's move it to the 4x5 inch spot and hit Make It. And when I do that, oops, he got moved up there. Design Space is set up in paper saving mode. And if you look at it, when you look at this, even if it's a circle, you're going to see a a circle, you're going to see a square bounding box around it. So even if you've got room to get more than one on a piece of paper, it's going to see it as a square. So it will not allow it to be placed, even though it will fit. I don't know if I can get 5 of them in here. I'm going to try. But it does the paper saving mode too, and it doesn't always work, and you can see that it's going to put it down here. And sometimes we can look and say, okay, I want that one cut out of pink, but it put it on a separate mat anyway. I can move that object over here. Even though I've got all of those and they all fit with 5, I can still get all of these in here. So I can move them around on this screen and rotate and get everything in there and fit. But Design Space is going to see it as a square and it's going to place it in here. This is your mat screen, and this is where you need to tell it you want it to cut from that 4x5 inch area on your mat. Okay? So when you're looking at that, that's when you want to do that. I'm going to bring that back over here. Or I'm just going to take it down to 1. This is where you apply your copies. This is where you set it up where you want things to cut, because this is not a workspace. This is a cut space. Your canvas is your workspace, and that is all it is. Doesn't matter where you set your image in that canvas. When you get to the mat screen, Design Space is going to go into paper saving mode or material saving mode and rearrange everything for you. Okay? So if I want it to cut out of that 4x5 area, I have to manually move that once I come over here. So now I'm looking at my 4-inch. That's the 4x4. If that's the area on my paper that I want it to cut, I'm moving it to the 4 and the 5-inch area, and now I can cut it out of that specific spot on my paper. Hey, Nancy. Yes, you can always watch. We always record. It'll be available after for playback. But anything that you need to know, Nancy, just ask. We're happy to help. So that is the difference. So here is where you can apply, you can mirror, you can choose your paper size. All of those things are done here on this mat screen. And then once you hit continue, you are limited. Now you can mirror, you can go in and you can edit. You can edit by clicking mirror, and you can edit by moving if you changed your mind on where you wanted to cut that from your paper. And that is it. You cannot change the copies at this point. You have to go back to the other screen in order to do that. Okay? Don't know why it's not wanting to read my maker. So those are your mat screens. I saw that a couple of times. I think three different times this week. I'm just going to cancel. Now when I cancel this, I can go back, and where I put this on my canvas, it's still going to be in that spot on my canvas. but it's not going to be in that spot when I go to cut. Exactly, Shirley. If you have a pattern paper and there's a specific spot you want it to cut, you want the main part of your panel, say it's a square panel for your card to go on the front of your card, and you know that you want a specific spot on that paper because you want the flowers to show up on this edge, or there's maybe some writing in it on the edge that you may want. That's what this is for. It doesn't matter where you have it here on this canvas because this is nothing but a work spot. Doesn't matter. I could put this at the 100 mark where it was totally off screen and unseen. But when I hit make it, it's going to show up. Okay, and then I can decide where on my paper or my vinyl I want that cut. Okay, and when I hit make it and go, I'm telling my machine right here where it's going to cut that square from. Okay, and I think that was everything for the main questions from last week that I noticed. So let's pop over and let's show you how to do this card really quick because it's super quick and super easy. There we go. I'm going to move that keyboard out of the way and hopefully you guys can see me. So I've got all three of them here, and like I said, these are just some pieces that I cut apart. I'm going to start with my circles, and all you're going to do, and I'm going to come up close, you've got your cut. When I'm going to suggest when you take these off the mat, you take them from the corner where your tucks are at instead of trying to pull from the top. That way you don't tear anything, especially if you get small with it. Okay? So all we're going to do is we're going to take each one of these rings that are cut and we're going to fold them backwards. And I just, because it's me, I like to start at the bottom rather than the top. And I'm just lifting up my paper, just kind of pulling it up and pulling those back. I'm just making them pop up where I can grab them. Okay? And we're just going to fold all of them back. Then I'm going to come over to the other side and do the same thing because I have some on the side as well. These cards are so fun and so easy. So I've got them all folded. Don't even need any score lines. Now I'm just going to go and start tucking. And there's my tuck cut there at the bottom. Okay? And I'm just going to tuck that in. And I'm just going to go all the way up, just tucking all of those pieces I folded right in. Same thing here. Just going to fold them right up under that little piece. Super, super, super easy. That is now ready to glue onto top of any panel that I want. And one thing that I like to do, I don't know if I still have it handy, is I like to cut one at a copy paper. So when I go and I pick my paper, I can see what's going to show and what color it's going to be, how much of the color is going to show, especially if I'm using a pattern paper for my underneath layer. If I cut it out of copy paper, I can see how much of my pattern is going to show. So that's just another little tip. But then you're just going to glue these together. Again, a little smaller than my card. Glue those together, and then you're going to pop on any of your decor that you have. And that's too big. Of course, I would have to pick something and cut it down. Here is the one I call the arrow. Now, there are some, because this is design space, there are some ticks in there, and you may have to, what I did was just hold them down and pull them up. Because all I did was score lines. And sometimes, not all of them, but some of them, and they're all the same because all I did was duplicate them. Sometimes my little ticks didn't turn loose. So just press them out, sort of like a perforation, and just make sure that all of your little cuts are done. all the way around on this card. Just going to kind of push them down like so. And then you're going to do the exact same thing we did with the circle. You're going to fold those back. Make sure you get them straight, not crooked like me. Super fun cards. Any occasions. And like I said, this one is set up for any of your machines, your Joy, your Explorer, your Makers. And to make any card, if you've got 5x7 cards, you can just size them down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then you've got Joy cards. And you're just tucking where we tucked before under those circle pieces. We're tucking under our arrow pieces here. No glue needed, except to glue it to your panel, of course. Now I did, before I folded mine, I left these white, but on this other one, what I did on mine, guys, is if you don't use a solid, I use solid core on this one, so only the gold pop through. But on these two, you notice mine aren't white. What I did before I folded was I inked, okay? I just took my ink pad and one of my brushes and I inked the back of it before I did any folding. That was all I did. So different looks, you can get different looks with the same card just by inking. And then when you fold this back, instead of being white, it will be whatever color you inked the back. Okay? And then the heart, of course, this one is the same. Just going to fold these back. And as you fold these back, then you get that heart starts showing up. They look like candy canes before. Now they look like hearts. And you can flip these around to where they open to the inside and the points to the outside. Totally up to you. Make sure you don't miss any, because I did that on one of my cards and had to start over because I glued it down and I glued my top one shut. So I have to do that card over again. And the same thing, you're just going to tuck. Super, super, super easy. And these cards, you can make these cards, if you've got your paper picked out, 5 minutes, maybe less. They cut really quick. And then you're just going to place again over your cardstock. You can even go darker. This one's kind of light. That paper was light, but that was kind of light for a wedding card or a bridal shower. But you can make it pop more by putting a darker color under it. I just like this one, how subtle it is. Yeah, I think the tuck and fold cards are making a comeback, Jamie. I don't even know, yeah, here they are. I had some stencils to do mine with, and like I said, the geometric ones you can do fairly easy in Design Space. The ones with the curves you need to do in Sure Cuts a Lot or something like that. So if you guys have templates, or you make yourself a template, you can do these and make these in Design Space fairly easily. Let's see, let me grab. Simply, if you have any templates at home, I mean, it's a little work, but you can do it. You're just going to place that template down. and you're going to draw your lines. I want to make sure that doesn't move. I've got oops. If you mess up, you're going to have to start over because when you scan it, it will read it. I'm just in a hurry here. But you can draw your lines on your paper with your template, and then you can scan that and use it in Inkscape or Surecuts a lot, and then you can do your paths and get your cut lines that way, and then upload them. Split the path. Takes hours for you, Pat. I don't know, Pat. I surprised myself. I picked out papers pretty quickly, but it's fairly easy. If you have paper stacks, guys, oops, I've got like 4 paper stacks and I just dropped one. But if you've got paper stacks, no matter what you pick out of here, they're going to match. So if even your Cricut paper stacks, all your paper in each one of your Cricut paper stacks are going to match. So you can pick one for your card base, one for your panel, and you put them together and they're going to look good. And this is what I was talking about. This page has several little cards on it, and all I do is cut these apart so that I can use those on cards. So if your paper stack has some of those in there, then you can do that. This is Sophisticated Neutrals, in case you guys want to know what I use for the hearts. That's what I use for the hearts. It's die cuts with a view. And this is what I used for the purple one right here. I used the floral paper out of it, and then it had I think the Follow Your Dreams came out of another pack that had foil on it. It may have been out of here. The flower that I cut, all of that was out of here. So I think it was. It may have been out of another pack, and it just matched this, so I used it. Oops. Guess what that was? That was my trimmer. But yeah, you can pick papers out of any of these stacks, and they will all go together. And most all of them have the cut-aparts on the inside. Close to My Heart, Stampin' Up. They all have those little cutouts so that you can use these. I dropped my Cricut trimmer and my top popped off. I'll have to find that. Made an awful racket, didn't it? Yes, there's lots of choices, but if you're in a hurry, like I said, Pat, if you're in a hurry, grab a paper stack in the color theme of what you're looking for, and you can pick out 2 papers in there and then a solid paper, and that's what I did, for some of my other cards. I pick from a paper pack, and then this one right here, I went and found my Cricut paper that matched it. So I've got... It's hard to see in here, I know. And this is even the Cricut paper, but I stamped some polka dots on it. So, I mean, it's just a solid piece of paper, but it matched that paper stack. So, I was able to do that. And then I just stamped to make my butterfly polka dot. You lost that piece on one of your trimmers, Shirley? I definitely drop mine all the time. So it's super easy to do. But I have like 6 of them because they're my favorites. I've got them all over. I've got them in my office, in my drawer here at my desk. I've got them on my craft table. I keep them all over. I've got one in my craft cabinet. So no matter where I'm working, I've got one handy. They come in the mystery boxes sometimes, things like that. So does anybody have any other questions? Please give a thumbs up and a like, guys. I can't wait to see what you do with these cards. Like I did here, you've got several different choices. I tried to do different colors so you can go subtle with it. You can go bold. You can go glam. Lots of things that you can do. And you're going to get a pretty card every time. You've still got your lime green one, Shirley? Or you've got a lime green one? Yeah, I've still got some of my old Cricut tools. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, you have a supporter file coming out Wednesday for this one, for the 3D easel card. That's coming Wednesday. The 3D box is coming for Patreon annual supporters on Thursday. Friday we will be live. I don't know what we're doing yet. I've got it written down, but I haven't double checked it. I believe Friday we are doing a double flip card for everybody. That's going to be a file for all supporters and non-supporters. All right, that's the rest of the week, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. Have a great evening. Catch you on the next one.